folks. Welcome back to We the Champz. I'm your host, Jalen. We got our co-host, Uncle D, a.k.a. Phil Blackson here. And we'll have J-Bo come on in just a second, so he'll pop in. But you already know, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share amongst everybody. And it's time to talk some sports. So it's about time. It's finally time. College basketball season is a good time, but it's time to get to the nitty gritty. And the NCAA March Madness tournament is finally here. And let's jump into this. We just had the ACC, well, not ACC. I mostly watch ACC, as you can tell. We just had the conference championships happen, and now it's time for the big show. So we got March Madness predictions and previews going on. And they just released the brackets tonight. And who are the top 4 seeds that we got there? Go ahead.
They're the number 1 overall seed, right?
Right.
UConn is. Who else we got? Houston, Purdue, and then the greatest program in the history of college basketball.
Yes, sir. Tar Heels. All right, so man, what you wanna jump into first with this? I want to speak on UConn just a second. So there's not a whole lot of hype behind them, but it's just like the thing with like the Nuggets during the regular season. It's like, okay, the Nuggets aren't at the top right now as far as numbers and their record and everything, but anybody subconsciously, consciously, or whatever, everybody still validates the Nuggets as the number 1 team, and that's how, and they're the defending champions, and that's how a lot of folks are seeing them go into this March Madness tournament as they're defending their title and trying to run it back.
They didn't lose any. They didn't lose any of their players, right? Everybody came back. So that was,
I think so.
The biggest thing for UConn was most of the guys that were even projected lottery picks decided to come back. So you'll look at that across the board. All 4 of those schools that are number 1 seeds have like great returning players. So UConn is low key just running through their Big East schedule in a kind of a semi-cupcake conference. I mean, they have some good schools on the top. They're very top heavy, but UConn just did that thing throughout the whole season.
Yeah, they're beasts, man. I remember so I was really liking San Diego. Was it San Diego State last year? Yeah. And my dad was hyped. My dad was super high on them the year before, the COVID year or whatever. And he's like, yeah, San Diego State. So I played San Diego State. And then I watched the championship game. It's like they were playing uphill the entire game. And granted, they came in, so they're getting beat by decent, arm's length, fair margin. Then they came within like 4 or 5 points, and UConn just kept it going. It's like their buckets were easier. They were big too. That's a big team.
They got
those boys are tall.
And then Coach Hurley. I mean, I don't ever like really giving any Hurleys any props, man. But Coach Hurley's a good coach. Guys, they play like great defense. Honestly, they play like old school, early to mid 90s style of basketball.
Right.
The bigs, inside and out, push the pace. But the big, like UConn looks like a for real team. And honestly, they should be favored to win a national title, but that's not who I'm gonna pick. That's not who
I'm picking either, man. And just based off, you look at the data on it, there hasn't been a repeat champion since the Florida Gators in 2006 and 2007. Because when was the last? Do you remember the last back-to-back champion before the Florida Gators? No, not quite. Shoot, me neither. But it's just like. But I mean,
Duke. Probably Duke. Because before Duke, it had to be Duke.
Because it's just such a thing that doesn't happen. I mean, you look at big pro sports, NBA. They're teams, dynasties, and you look at NFL. You just had the Chiefs, you had the Patriots run back-to-back titles, but that's the allure of the NCAA tournament. Anybody can knock anybody off in a one-game elimination series. So I just don't see UConn. I mean, I know they're the favorite. I just don't see it happening just because of historical data backing that.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons why you didn't see it happen really before is just because the one and done really that's changed the whole landscape over the last, honestly, 20 years when one and done's really became prevalent. You would have most of the time players would at least play through their sophomore year. But how many times the teams come in and they have like an amazing freshman carry them to a national title or even a national title game, and then they go pro. So that happens. I mean, even thinking back to Carmelo Anthony is balling out at Syracuse back in the day.
So what team was that? It was the UK. They went undefeated and they lost to Wisconsin. Then Wisconsin ended up losing in the finals. Who did they have on that team? I can't remember. UK had the Doom Squad. They had all the guys, and their average height of that team. Huh?
Cousins on the team?
No. I think that was a different year. Cousins and John Wall played together.
Yeah, man. UK had so many crazy teams, man.
So, all right. So here's a crazy stat I just pulled up or I found. So if we're looking at brackets, man, I don't know if you play a bracket. I made one time because I feel like the winning prize is like millions of dollars. So it's like, why not just fill out a bracket, peep at it. You're probably not more than likely not going to win, but take a chance. So since 1985, over the last 40 years, there's been several 1 seeds. All the top 4 seeds have won titles, and the lowest seed ever is to win the title is an 8 seed. So you're pretty much, if you're picking a champion, you're pretty much swiping away the 9 through 16 seed. But it's just so weird how it works, man. It's just so random, especially that round of 64. I mean, you got 15 seeds beating 2 seeds. Mm-hmm. And then was it last year or the year before 16 beat a 1? But then it doesn't make sense to pick a 15 or a 16 over a 1 and 2 seed. It's like, bro, you have to pick the 1 and 2 seed because it rarely happens.
Yeah, but it's weird with the way the seeding is now. It's honestly, there's a little bit more parity over the last 10 years too, with the one that does. So the advantage of usually the number 13 seed and up is usually it's a team filled of upperclassmen. And those are guys that have the chemistry. Those are guys that play together a long time. And then usually
those are guys ready to die for this.
Yeah, I mean,
for real.
And a lot of times those are guys who were passed over from big time programs and then picked up into some smaller programs that are still good enough to make the tournament. So they got a lot to prove. And honestly, they made these lower seeds. There have been guys like CJ McCollum coming to the league off of these lower seeded teams and become stars by balling out in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm. You think Trae Young, I mean, he played for a big program. However, they weren't the best team at the time. And it's like they put his team in did they let his team go to the tournament? I think that was just like a money or, business decision thing. It's like, all right, let's just put Oklahoma and Trae Young in the tournament because it's freaking Trae Young.
Well, he was in? Nah, they were good. They were when Trae was in college, Oklahoma had a decent year.
Mm-hmm.
They were at large team, but he also balled out. That shows you the difference of what having one talented player can do for your team.
Okay. All right. So looking at a lot of the top teams. So here's another interesting stat that I found out. So since 2001, 90% of the championship teams have been top 21 in adjusted offensive efficiency and top 31 in adjusted defensive efficiency. And the teams on that list for this season are Houston, Auburn, UConn, Arizona, Marquette, Purdue, Creighton, and Duke. And then we have another contender who's just outside of the top 21 adjusted offense we have from Tar Heels, baby. So the number 5 in defense, the number 25 in adjusted offense. So anybody off of that list I just read out, all right, either of them your championship pick?
I mean, I'm you know who I'm gonna pick. Are we doing predictions right now?
I mean, all right. So any of these guys towards the top of your list, towards the top of your list.
Yes.
Or just give me a breakdown on any of the teams I just said. It doesn't have to be the team or whatever. Or who you think highly of.
Auburn's defense is crazy. And think about how well they played in the NCAA tournament over the last 5 years. I mean, they've had really good tournament runs. They're well coached.
And they won the SEC tournament today.
Yeah,
big time, by a big margin. They won by almost 20 points.
And that's a team that needed momentum going into the NCAAs, right? So you look at Kentucky, who kind of fell off and lost the game. They were actually projected to be a top seed before the tournament started, lost in the first round. But a team like Auburn can take that momentum and make a deep run just because they're well coached. They've been there before. They're still a really talented team. So I think Auburn is a sleeper pick for me. Of course, a well-coached Carolina team that's already done it before. They're 2 years removed.
Welcome to the show, Jay.
So those are my teams. I don't really have any faith in Duke. I mean, not even
me neither.
Not just because I'm biased against Duke. It's just really they just don't look like it's their year. And everybody knows what a Duke year looks like, and this really ain't it for them.
Okay. Now, Houston, they were the number 1 team overall. They're the top defense and the top 12, the number 12 adjusted overall offensive efficiency. Who did they just lost their title game, right?
Iowa State murked them.
Iowa State's another strong team. What seed did they get? Aren't they like number 7 or something?
They're number 2 seed.
I'm tripping. They're a 2 seed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a team that I can see definitely make a good run. Now, so who else? We had UConn, of course, Arizona. Arizona's in that bracket with the Tar Heels.
Yeah,
so we got this.
So an interesting matchup.
So we got Jay's favorite college basketball player in recent years, Caleb Love, with Arizona, who might get a get back game at his previous team, the Tar Heels, who he was one of the leaders of the teams when they lost the championship game a couple years ago to Kansas. That'll be intriguing. That's a great storyline for the college basketball tournament for sure.
Man, I think that'll be a great matchup. They almost feel like the committee put them in the same bracket kind of on purpose.
They did. They had to, man. They had to. All right.
I think Marquette being in Houston's bracket is interesting. Marquette is such a dangerous team in the tournament. They're the kind of team that can knock them off. Looking down the bracket, like Houston's got a tough bracket, man. You got Duke. You got Duke. You got Kentucky. So I don't know. I feel like the committee really didn't do them any favors by putting like a doom squad team in their bracket.
Yeah, San Diego State right there. Freaking Auburn. They'd have to see Auburn in what, the third round? If they did end up matching up. Illinois, I mean, they got some tough guys in there.
I don't see Auburn over here.
Auburn's in
I was on the other side.
No, they're in the East.
Yeah, Houston's in the South.
No, my bad. I'm tripping. I'm talking UConn. My bad. I got off track.
Okay.
Okay. True.
All right, yeah.
My fault.
True.
No, you good. I'm looking at Houston's bracket is probably one of the tougher brackets for them to get out of.
Can I say something?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. What's up?
What up? What up? Good to see you.
Give us some heat.
Yo, I think this year gonna be crazy. Like I'm talking upsets everywhere. I mean, looking at it's not a huge gap between like what I mean, you got Duke, like you said, Duke can take out Houston easily, but Duke can get taken out easily by what? Texas A&M can be sneaky. Yeah, freaking NC State just won an ACC championship. Don't sleep.
So they're number 9 seed. So I believe NC State. I don't see, like I said, haven't been a 9 seed to win in 40 years, but I can see NC State being that last, the furthest seed, that 9 seed, making it to the Final Four. Because I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed with their ACC performance. Absolutely.
You got Florida in here.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. The NCAA tournament is so crazy, man. I understand why football wants a tournament.
Kentucky just because
it's so crazy with that many good teams. Like Tennessee, even Tennessee.
This is exciting.
And honestly, real talk, Purdue's the number 1 seed.
Listen, Purdue. Hey, real quick, Purdue is also in that adjusted efficiency category, top 21 in offense, top 31 in defense. But every analyst, everything I'm hearing about Purdue, they're like, nah.
Bro, because Purdue has been in this spot literally for 2 or 3 straight years, and it's like, and they always get knocked out like
the first or second round.
It's crazy.
Were they the ones that lost to Princeton?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was either Princeton or it was another team.
That big dude for Princeton was fun to watch though. He was solid.
The big dude for Purdue, he's solid, man. But it's like, I don't know. I don't see him. I don't see him make a big like impact even in the tournaments. Like seriously.
Because he's going to be dealing with way more athletic bigs. So yeah, the Big Ten has decent size. They have good guards, but like he's killing everybody else's big men just because he's bigger. But once you get out of that conference and he's going to be playing teams where the bigs are, if you're 6'9", 6'10", and you're athletic, it can actually have length. That kind of negates you just being big and bullying people, man. That I don't know, man. His game doesn't really translate well. Not to take anything away from him because he's a great player at what he does, but he's just not. He ain't like Joker big where you're agile.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just big.
So we can all agree Purdue ain't doing Purdue ain't doing They might as well hand off that number 1 to someone else.
Yeah, man.
What else you got, Jay?
All right, guys. We're rounded up on about 20 minutes. So right here, right now, let's go ahead and make our predictions for a championship team. Give me a surprise team and give me a championship team. I mean, it could have been somebody you already said on the but all right, just tell me what you think.
Do I gotta go? Who go? You go first.
I'll go first.
I can go first. All right, my surprise team. I already said it. I think NC State is going to have a good run.
Man,
knock teams out, bro. Look, they beat Duke. They beat Duke and North Carolina in this tournament, dude. I'm just so
pick them after they knock UNC out of
exactly that just impressed me, man. Hey, recency bias. Didn't they beat the Tar Heels early in the season too, right?
No.
Am I tripping? Okay. And
they did actually.
They did.
Like way early. Like we
talking way early. They gave him an L earlier. So I mean, it could just be familiar. It could be conference. It could be conference and in-state rivalry. But I was thoroughly impressed with NC State. And then the fashion they won, it wasn't a close game. I'm rep Tar Heels, bro. But
that was a close game when they beat Carolina. It was a close game when they beat Duke.
Look, all right. Look, all right, man. Let me finish.
I will stop messing with you.
I have my tournament champion. This is the hard one. My tournament champion. I'm picking Auburn. All right, go ahead. Who's next?
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go because I know you're gonna finish it up, and it's gonna be funny. So let me go next.
I'll just start with my surprise team. And I don't know how y'all gonna feel about this, but I'm gonna take UNC as my surprise team to win it all.
Mm-hmm. So they're your 2-1.
They can run it back. They can run it back. They can get there. They already tasted that. I think that ACC tournament, that championship, that's a nasty taste in the mouth, man. You got to win that, bro. Like,
man,
you know what I'm saying?
Before you got on, man, I was telling Jalen, I was like, but think about it like this: if for them to win the ACC tournament, and win the NCAA tournament, that's a streak of 9 straight games. I would rather them lose in a championship the way they did,
right,
and then be able to refocus. And they played well throughout the whole tournament, and then adjust. And so, honestly, that's the reason why I think it's. I'll make my prediction in a second, but I think that's going to actually help them.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. You beat me to it, but yeah, pretty much tasting defeat in that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to use that as motivation throughout the tournament, and I think they can run through, all the tough teams and still bang it out. But I think UConn can get it done.
You think they can run it back for real? Okay.
I think UConn can get it done. Very balanced team. It's the same shit, man. That organization.
All right. So what's your surprise pick and what's your championship pick?
UNC Charlotte. Oh, UNC Charlotte.
Okay.
UNC Tar Heels as my surprise team, and
UConn is your championship.
Little Huskies.
Okay. Oh, and I was wrong about the 15 seed Princeton win. They beat Arizona. It was Arizona they beat last year. All right. Go ahead. What you got for us?
My surprise team is your national championship. I'm picking Auburn.
Auburn?
Yeah, they're number 4 seed. I think that they're gonna turn up and make it to the Final Four. I think that they'll end up beating UConn just because of how they play in big games over the last few years. They're not afraid. They're well coached. But I think that Carolina is going to actually win a title this year.
Wow.
Hey, man, put that out there, man. Put that out there.
I'm just saying, I feel like, again, losing, they played really well in the ACC tournament. Even the game that they lost to State, they played well. State just actually played harder. They were more desperate. And I think Carolina, they weren't as desperate because they already had it. They already had the position locked down. So I hate that they didn't play harder, but I feel like they didn't bring everything they're going to bring for the tournament.
Okay.
That's it.
Here's another thing. Creighton, they're in that category of the efficiency rating teams, and Creighton also beat the Huskies this year. They're running it back with their guys. They got some big guys, and they got some playmakers. So keep Creighton on the radar. I'm just saying, just keep them on the radar. Just pay attention to them. They could do nothing. They could do something. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys. All right. Hey, that was some good chat for some March Madness predictions and previews. Hey, let's keep the ball rolling. Let's keep it bouncing.